Stop saying she's beautiful. She's heard that line 1,000 times before, from men who didn't mean it, from strangers who only saw her skin, not her soul. Beauty doesn't make her feel special anymore. It makes her guarded. What she's craving is something deeper, something that awakens her feminine core, that makes her feel seen without her even having to explain herself. Because every woman, no matter how confident she appears, secretly wants a man who knows how to speak to her emotions, not her ego. The truth? She doesn't want compliments. She wants connection. She doesn't want validation. She wants recognition of her essence, her energy, her uniqueness. When you stop trying to impress her with words like, "You're beautiful," and instead communicate what no other man dares to say, something that touches her emotional psychology, she'll lean in, she'll listen, and without realizing it, she'll start wanting you. This isn't manipulation. This is understanding, because attraction isn't born from words. It's born from how you make her feel about herself when she's with you. Let's be honest. "You're beautiful" doesn't mean what it used to. It's been diluted, recycled, and thrown around so carelessly that it's lost its power. Every woman with a phone and a social media profile has heard it 1,000 times before. In her comments, her DMs, her texts. Those three words don't make her stop and think anymore. They make her scroll faster because they don't make her feel. You see, women are emotional beings, not in the cliche sense people like to throw around, but in the way that their hearts process everything through feeling. They don't just listen to what you say, they absorb how it feels when you say it. Every woman has an emotional radar, and it's sharp. She can tell when a compliment is coming from authenticity or from desire. And when your words come from lust or habit, she disconnects. Most men think attraction starts with words, but real attraction begins with emotional resonance, when your energy syncs with hers. When you don't just compliment her, but connect with her. A woman doesn't crave flattery, she craves understanding. She doesn't want to be looked at. She wants to be felt. When you tell a woman, "You're beautiful," it's often about you, what you see, what you want. But when you tell her, "There's something about your presence that feels calm and powerful at the same time," suddenly it's about her essence. That's when you stop sounding like every other man. You've shifted from observation to perception, from seeing her body to recognizing her energy. And that's where emotional resonance begins. Every woman has layers and layers of strength, vulnerability, history, fear, and quiet dreams. And no man who only stares at her face will ever see those layers. But when you're present, really present, she feels that difference instantly. Emotional presence is magnetic. It's when you listen not to respond, but to understand. When you observe not to judge, but to connect. Let me tell you something most men miss. Women remember moments of feeling, not moments of flattery. She may forget what outfit she wore that day, or even what you said word for word, but she'll remember the feeling she had in your presence. Was she relaxed? Was she inspired? Did she feel seen beyond her beauty? That feeling will echo in her mind long after the conversation ends, because emotional resonance does something that no physical compliment can do. It awakens her feminine energy. When a woman feels emotionally safe and understood, she doesn't have to perform. She softens, her walls drop, her guard lowers. And in that space, real attraction begins, not the superficial kind that fades after a few dates, but the kind that lives in her body like memory. You can tell a woman she's beautiful and she'll smile politely. But when you say something that aligns with what she secretly feels, you'll see her pause. Her eyes will soften, her breathing changes, because you didn't just speak to her, you reached her. That's what emotional resonance is. It's the unspoken understanding between two energies. It's when you reflect her emotion without trying to fix it or manipulate it. When she's overwhelmed and you say, I can feel there's a lot on your mind tonight, but you don't have to explain it. I get it. That lands deeper than any, you look amazing, because you just gave her emotional recognition. And that's the currency of attraction most men never learn to spend. The truth is, beauty is everywhere, it's common, but emotional depth is rare. Every woman has something she's never said out loud, a wound she hides, a dream she protects, a softness she fears will be misunderstood. When you can meet her in that invisible space, that's when she'll feel something real. That's when she'll associate you with comfort, with peace, with a sense of being known. And when a woman feels known, she starts to desire the presence that makes her feel that way. You stop being just another man who said the right thing. You become the man who made her feel safe to be fully herself. So stop trying to impress her with pretty words. Stop repeating what every other man says. Speak in a way that connects with her emotions, not her image. See her in ways she hasn't seen herself in a long time. Because once you create emotional resonance, once she feels emotionally met by you, no compliment, no charm, no looks will ever compete with that. Every woman has heard the same phrases repeated to her over and over again. You're beautiful. You're cute. You look amazing today. And while those words might sound kind, they fall flat because they lack one powerful ingredient: specific recognition. See, general compliments are like fast food. They fill the moment, but they don't nourish the soul. They don't touch anything real inside her. Every man who notices her beauty says the same thing, but very few ever notice why she's beautiful. Not the shape of her lips or the color of her hair, but the subtle way her energy changes a room, the way her voice calms the chaos in your mind, the quiet confidence that lives behind her eyes. That's what separates words from connection. A woman doesn't crave validation, she craves recognition, real, thoughtful acknowledgement that proves you've actually seen her, not just looked at her. Because most men don't look into a woman, they look at her. They admire the outer form, but they miss the essence. Let me explain this through emotional psychology. The female mind processes attention as energy. When she senses your attention is focused on something deeper than her looks, when you recognize her strength, her subtle kindness, or the way she carries herself when no one's watching, it activates her emotional core. She feels appreciated, not objectified, seen, not analyzed. And that difference changes everything. For example, instead of saying, you're beautiful, try something like, love the way your energy feels calm, even when things around you are loud. It's rare. That's specific. That's emotional. That's felt. When you recognize something that even she hasn't noticed about herself, you're not just complimenting her, you're revealing her to herself. And that's powerful because the person who helps her see her own value on a deeper level becomes unforgettable. Most people go their entire lives without being truly understood. They live surrounded by attention but starving for recognition. When a woman meets a man who doesn't just admire her appearance, but mirrors her inner world back to her, she feels something magnetic. It's not about attraction at first, it's about belonging. Specific recognition tells her, I see the way you think. I notice the small things that others overlook. I value who you are, not just how you look. And when you speak like that, she feels emotionally validated in a way no surface compliment can give. You have to understand, for a woman, attention without depth feels empty. It's like a light that shines too bright but never warms. She might smile when you call her beautiful, but deep. Down. She knows you're not speaking to her, you're speaking to her appearance, and appearances fade. But when you recognize her essence and the things that make her her, you create a bond that time cannot erode. Think about it. Anyone can notice her smile, but few will notice why she smiles the way she does. Anyone can say she's smart, but few will recognize how she connects her thoughts to emotion when she speaks. Specific recognition demands attention, awareness, and empathy. It shows you're not trying to get her, you're trying to understand her. And that's where trust begins. The male mistake is assuming women want to hear more compliments. They don't want more, they want meaningful. Women don't need to be reminded they're beautiful. They want to feel seen in their individuality. When you see a woman's mind, when you catch the tiny nuances in her emotions, when you speak to her soul, that's when she feels special. Specific recognition tells her she's not being generalized. It tells her she's not just another face in a crowd. It says, you stand out to me for reasons you might not even realize. And when you reach that level, she begins to associate you with emotional truth. Your presence becomes safe. Your words begin to carry weight. She doesn't just hear you, she feels you. You stop being the man who flatters her. You become the man who understands her. And that shift changes everything about how she perceives you, because when a woman feels deeply recognized, she lets her guard down. She starts to open up, not out of curiosity, but out of comfort. And that's where real emotional intimacy grows, not in the shallow waters of flattery, but in the deep ocean of recognition. So don't just tell her she's beautiful, tell her why she feels that way to you. Notice her depth. Speak to her patterns, her thoughts, her spirit, because when you see what others ignore, you'll touch what others can't reach. Here's something most men don't realize. Women don't fall for the man who looks the best, talks the smoothest, or even provides the most. They fall for the man with whom they feel safe, not just physically, but psychologically. Because desire doesn't bloom in tension, it blossoms in safety. You can't make a woman open up to you by forcing attraction, by playing mind games, or by trying to prove your worth. Those things might catch her attention for a moment, but they never sustain emotional connection. A woman's deepest desire is not excitement, it's security in being fully herself. When she feels she doesn't have to edit her words, hide her emotions, or wear a mask around you, that's when she begins to desire you at the core of her being. Understand this: psychological safety is the foundation of feminine attraction. Women are emotional processors. They feel before they think. When a man creates an environment where her emotions can exist freely, she begins to associate him with peace. That peace is addictive. It's what makes her crave his presence, his voice, his touch. Because with him, she feels like she doesn't need to perform. She can just be. Most men think women want the bad boy, the mysterious, unpredictable type. But here's the truth: women might be drawn to uncertainty for a while, but they bond through safety. The feminine can't fully open in chaos, she opens in calmness. And when she feels emotionally safe, her energy shifts, her guard drops, her laughter becomes softer, her eyes start to linger longer. It's not because you impressed her, it's because you gave her something rare: peace in a world that constantly asks her to protect herself. Psychological safety isn't about being passive, it's about being present. It's the ability to handle her emotions without judging them, to stay grounded when she's upset, to listen when she needs to release instead of trying to fix her. When a woman realizes that your presence doesn't crumble under her storms, she begins to trust you. And that trust turns into emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy turns into desire. Think about it. How can a woman surrender emotionally or physically to someone she doesn't feel safe with? She can't. Her body won't allow it. The feminine body and heart only open when the environment feels secure. So the real secret isn't charm or looks, it's emotional stability. The man who can regulate his own emotions makes her feel safe to express hers. This is what most men miss. Safety is not boring, it's magnetic. When you give a woman the freedom to be messy, vulnerable, or uncertain without making her feel too much, she begins to relax around you. That relaxation is the beginning of real attraction because when she's relaxed, her feminine energy flows naturally, her softness, her warmth, her sensuality. And when she connects those feelings to your presence, she doesn't just like you, she craves you. Psychological safety is built through consistency. It's in how you react when she shares something personal, how you hold space for her emotions instead of shutting them down, how you show that her truth, even if it's heavy, doesn't scare you. Every time she feels safe to express herself and you stay calm, she subconsciously says, I can trust him. And trust is the doorway to desire. You see, desire is not born in chaos, it's born in peace. When a woman feels emotionally at home with you, her feminine energy naturally leans toward you. Her laughter gets lighter, her tone softer, her connection deeper. That's not something you can fake. It's something you create. But to create psychological safety, you must first be safe within yourself. You can't make her feel stable if you're battling insecurity, ego, or emotional volatility. The masculine energy's power lies in groundedness, in being the calm in her storm. When she knows that no matter what emotional wave comes, you won't drown in it, she starts to surrender emotionally, mentally, and yes, physically. That's why true attraction is never just about looks or words. It's about energy. When your energy tells her, you're safe here, everything inside her starts to unfold. She becomes more expressive, more affectionate, more open. That's when her desire grows, not because she's chasing excitement, but because she's drawn to the emotional peace your presence brings. You don't have to convince her you're worth it. You just have to make her feel safe enough to see it for herself. When a woman feels emotionally protected, she'll naturally connect that safety to intimacy. It's an instinct. She doesn't have to think about it. Her body and soul respond on their own. So, remember this. The loudest man in the room doesn't win her heart. The calm one does. The one who listens, understands, and holds space for her truth. Because a woman's desire doesn't rise from adrenaline, it rises from emotional freedom. There's something most men never understand about women. They keep speaking to what they see instead of what she feels. They chase her beauty, her appearance, her outer world, but forget that her true essence lives in her inner feminine identity, the emotional, intuitive, and deeply feeling part of her that she rarely shows anyone. Every woman has an inner world that's layered and powerful, a world made up of emotions, memories, insecurities, and quiet dreams. It's not what she posts online, not what she says in conversations, not even what she admits to her closest friends. It's the part of her that feels everything more deeply than she lets on. And when a man can reach that part, when he can speak to her feminine energy instead of her surface, that's when she truly connects. You see, the feminine identity isn't about how she looks or dresses, it's about how she feels. It's her softness, her emotional intuition, her sensitivity, her nurturing side, her creativity, and her quiet strength. But in today's world, most women are forced to hide that part of themselves. They live in survival mode, working, leading, competing, proving. And in doing so, they often suppress their natural feminine flow because they fear it'll be misunderstood or taken for weakness. So when a man comes along who sees beyond that armor, who doesn't try to challenge her femininity, but instead honors it, something powerful happens. She exhales, she relaxes, she begins to trust. Because finally, someone is speaking to her essence, not her image. To speak to a woman's inner feminine identity means to understand her emotional rhythm, her moments of openness, her quiet withdrawals, her waves of intuition. It means not judging her for her emotions, but recognizing that they are the language of her soul. When she feels, she's not being irrational, she's expressing the unseen world within her. The man who respects that, who learns to listen beneath her words, becomes emotionally unforgettable. Here's the truth. A woman doesn't want to be understood logically. She wants to be felt emotionally. She wants a man who can meet her in her emotional world, not to solve it, not to analyze it, but to honor it. Because when she feels emotionally met, her inner feminine identity awakens. She starts to feel alive, vibrant, safe, and expressive. You don't awaken a woman's desire by telling her what she already knows about herself. You awaken it by showing her what she's forgotten. When you remind her of her softness, when you make her feel valued for her warmth, her kindness, her intuition, you're validating her deepest truth. She doesn't crave dominance. She craves emotional polarity. She wants to feel your masculine energy in a way that allows her to return to her natural state of flow. This is what most men get wrong. They think the path to attraction is through dominance or logic, but the path to connection is through emotional presence. The man who makes her feel safe enough to be feminine, to be emotional, to be herself, is the man who becomes unforgettable to her heart. When you speak to her inner feminine identity, your words stop being compliments and start becoming mirrors. You're not just telling her she's beautiful, you're reflecting her essence back to her. You're saying, I see the way your energy lights up when you talk about what you love. Or there's something peaceful about the way you carry.